A woman has proposed to a man after she ran a race at the Olympics. Look, we all know it's a little weird. And we all have an intuition that it's wrong for a woman to propose to a man. We all just kind of know intuitively that a man is supposed to propose marriage to a woman. And you might not be able to articulate the precise reasons why that is, but we all know it intuitively.
That is Nemo shark turned right-wing pundit Michael Knowles speaking on the proposal that a French athlete made to her boyfriend. Her name is Alice Finot. She's a French runner. And after finishing her race, she got down on one knee and proposed to her boyfriend. And apparently we're supposed to be enraged, but here it is, incredibly cute. There's a couple more shots of her. There she is, big smiles. Apparently he said yes because there was a big old hug. She's showing off a very fly body. I'm sorry, I just have to say it, and I can say it. And she had this to say about the proposal. She said, "I told myself that if I ran under 9 minutes, knowing that 9 is my lucky number and that we've been together for 9 years, then I would propose," which is like giving me chills. It's so sweet. She said, "I don't like doing things like everyone else. Since he hadn't done it yet, I thought maybe it was up to me." Instead of a diamond ring, she used an Olympic pin. Now that is incredibly heartwarming, unless you have no heart, in which I present Michael Knowles, who is upset and is telling us that this should never happen. How dare a woman propose to a man?
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
He's got a couple reasons. Here's his first reason.
Men tend to be the less eager party when it comes to getting married. You might say that's wrong and that's bad and that's terrible, but it's true. It goes back to when you were 5 years old. Not one 5-year-old boy in the history of the world has ever dreamt about his wedding day. Most 5-year-old girls dream about their wedding day. That's just kind of how we're built. It's how we're wired. You might complain about that. Libs complain about these things. Libs complain about nature and reality a lot, and they're discontented with it, and they try to revolutionize it and upend reality. But it just do be like that, okay? Men are the less eager party when it comes to getting married, so men are the ones who take the initiative when it comes to getting married. Say, okay, we're the ones who have to get over this hump of maybe not wanting to commit and get married, so we're going to be the ones to propose.
Mike, don't ever say "do be like that." Don't ever say that again. Like, it doesn't work on you. It doesn't work. Like everything else aside, it doesn't work. So no 5-year-old in the history of the world has dreamt of getting married. There's more, guys, before you respond. Second argument is thus.
Men are taking more of a financial risk, generally, because men tend, not all the time. These days, it's less common, but men often are the breadwinners. So they're taking more of a financial risk here. So they're the one proposing. Furthermore, forget about who's the breadwinner. Men are taking upon themselves by proposing the emotional risk. Because you get a man on his knees and proposes, and sometimes the woman says, "Nah, sorry, no thanks." Whereas could you imagine how sad that would be? A woman comes to you, she proposes marriage, and you say, no. And then you have to watch this woman just bawling and crying and humiliated and embarrassed. No, men take that risk on.
I have so many things to say about this, you guys. But first off, just your reactions to the proposal and the fact that, yeah, she proposed to him.
Okay, so much to say there. Right. First, I'm gonna double down on what Franny said. Don't ever say it do be like that.
So good.
Oh, come on, man. Okay, you gotta know yourself. Okay, so next thing is only one quick comment about the lady who actually did the proposal. So she said, if I got under 9 minutes, then I thought, wait, if you got above 9 minutes, would you not have proposed? Okay, but that's a fun little wrinkle. But mainly with Michael Knowles, which this story's about. A lot of times when I see a segment of his, it always feels like, look at me, daddy, look at me. Right, like I got it, brother. You're trying to get attention, but this stuff is silly, man. Right? So okay, so let's take the things that he said. Little boys never dream about their wedding day, but all 5-year-old girls are dreaming about their wedding day. Are they? No, they're not. My daughter's 11. She's as girly as it gets. Loves Barbie, whatever other stereotypes you want to throw in there. Never thought about her wedding day. She thinks it's ew and gross. Right? Like, so tell me you don't know without telling me you don't know. But the main point is, even if some of this stuff were true, hey, men do it more often. But so what if a woman does it? Like, but for conservatives, if they feel like if they say this is a thing that most people do, the follow-up sentence is, that is why you must also do it. Why? Why can't I do something that most people don't do? I thought you guys believed in freedom. Hilarious, but I think Tim Walz speaks for me here because this is the best point about it.
I grew up in a town of 400 people, 24 kids in my graduating class, 12 were cousins, and the golden rule of a small town, mind your own damn business.
Yeah, mind your own damn business. You don't want your girlfriend proposing to you? Great. She proposes, what are you involved for? Who asked you? Brett.
Honestly, personally, me going into this, I thought to myself, you know what? People should live their own lives. They all have their own story. They should write their own romance. But then I saw alpha dog man's man, Michael Knowles, with his manicured fingers, nothing wrong with that, but that's who he's trying not to be. And his weird, I've seen this guy in real life. All I'm thinking about is we were at the RNC, and this guy is trying to sell cigars. Like, at least Matt Walsh grew a beard. What did you do to be a man? Like I hate to say that Matt Walsh is more believable in the role of dude bro than Michael Knowles, whom everybody should Google his attempt at acting when he was a Yale drama major. Like, he is walking around the RNC and he is high. He doesn't just have women that follow him because they think he's such an alpha dog. No, he has obviously hired women to stand behind him with a tray full of not cigars, but little rolled up coupons for cigars you can buy.
No.
And the look on these women's faces were just like, there obviously is an amount you could pay me for me to do this, but I cannot wait for it to end. Like, this guy is trying so desperately hard to be the Sigma dude, but I hate to say it, in the parlance that they'll understand, he's so European about it. You know what I mean? He's so continental about it that it just doesn't carry any weight. I love it. His high-pitched register, his manicured hair with the pomade. He's trying to be a Don Draper type, but he can't get it, and I think it's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, he can't. And look, I don't really care about the packaging and the whole who's a manly man. It's fine. It's fine. I like metrosexuals. That's great. But being so triggered over this is ridiculous. I've been married twice. I'm on my second marriage. We'll see. No, my first marriage, we just kind of decided. We were like, we want to do this, and we decided together. There was no moment of getting down on one knee. Second marriage, he did propose. We were in our yard. We went on a walk, and he doesn't ever like going on walks. So I was like, something's up. What's going on? Then he didn't find a place to propose, so then he just did it it was very cute. It was still cute, and I took a picture of him immediately. But all of the things that he says, would you say no to a woman? How sad is that? That's how women feel also. It is putting upon someone. It's taking a big risk. And also it is a lot of pressure to be asked in public. And and it also is sad to see anyone cry, a man cry, a woman cry in that moment. So I will say the pressure is always there. this thing I'll say about him with like, I love when he's like, going back to, and I'm like, okay, is he gonna reference ancient Greece, some ancient society, like when you're 5? I'm like, okay, now he's just pulling it out of his ass. So now it's just anything, and no 5-year-old in the history of the world. And libs wanna change nature. Okay, let's talk about nature, right? Because this is the thing that the right never understands, because they don't believe patriarchy is real. They don't think sexism is real. They don't think pay inequity is real, that women get 70 cents or 80 cents on the dollar to men, right? They think that that is all made up. And they have no idea what it's like to be socialized as a woman. When you're socialized as a woman, as I was, man, I had so much Disney princess rammed down my throat. I mean, I loved it. I was like, nom, 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 nom. But like, I would watch all of Little Mermaid and then rewind it on the VHS and watch it back and be like, I will change for him. I'm gonna be a princess. You know what I mean? I'll earn his love even though if I'm a mute. Like, you just ingest and inhale so much. You should do everything for your man. And also the ultimate pinnacle of life is to get married. And that does a number on you, and it has nothing to do with nature. It has to do with like capitalism and patriarchy that's selling you this. And if we wanna change Disney, you wanna have a movie like Luca, you wanna have a movie like Frozen, which is really about sisterhood and not so much about marriage. They freak out. Oh my God, it's a same-sex friendship. Oh my God, this is not about a man. There's gay stuff. Like, they freak out when you change the paradigm that socializes women to only want to get married. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. And by the way, I think that we're all socializing to getting married, and they're like, oh, it's natural. Is it? It's not natural at all. Look into anthropology, just like 1%, and you'll know, no, it's a very modern invention. We didn't do that at all. When we were basically growing up evolutionarily. I know, but you don't believe in evolution. We were created 3 seconds ago, but etc. But look, bottom line on this story is, what does a real man do? Do they look to Michael Knowles on what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do, and what they're allowed to think and not allowed to think? No, they act strongly, bravely, etc. Even if you believe in the real men, archetype, etc. And so, look, last things I give you an example. I thought I didn't want to have kids. It turns out I did have kids and I loved it. And I think it's the greatest thing ever, right? But my wife, kids around with me all the time, because as soon as we did have kids, I had their names ready. I've had it ready for decades. She's like, what happened? I thought you didn't want to. I was like, well, yeah, I didn't want to have them, but if I had them, I wanted them to be named Prometheus and Joy. So
since he was 5 years old.
Yeah. So now
you thought about it.
Yeah. So there's the guys who look at that and go, oh, you thought about your kids' names? That's a continental look. There's the guys who are like, you shouldn't be thinking about that. And there's the guys who go, yeah, you wanted to do that, so you did. So what? Mind your own damn business.
Yeah, my favorite like evolutionary biology thing about love is someone from University of Santa Barbara who said that like the 7-year itch exists because love only lasts long enough for you to meet someone, impregnate them, have enough kids, and then they can run away from like mountain lions. And that's it.
That's actually my theory.
And then they created, we created marriage as a way to just kind of say like, all right, let's just kind of pair up and do that stuff. I think mostly, there was a bunch of reasons I could talk about,
property,
but for property and stuff. But like the absolute paragons of the right wing movement are Reagan and Trump, who are both divorced. Like,
yeah,
hate to break it to you guys, but you can't even walk the walk. You talk so loudly for hours and hours a day.
Yeah. Can you imagine how much more miserable they would be if they had stayed with their partners? Like, yeah, and the other thing is this is all fun and games until you realize that the right actually is trying to get rid of no-fault divorce.
Yeah.
And they're actually trying to say, no, a woman should never take because it's about agency. A woman should never be able to have the agency to ask a man to marry them. No, a woman should be sold off by her father with a dowry consisting of a cow. Like that is what a woman should be, and you think that's hyperbolic, but it's not, because that's where they're going. And I don't care if a metrosexual like Michael Knowles or some beefcake idiot like Andrew Tate tells you that, it's the same message.
Yeah, the fact that they're actually pushing ending no-fault divorce bills is insanity. Insanity. What the hell do you know about anybody's marriage?
Again, you have the freedom. You have the freedom not to get divorced. You have the freedom to be forced to stay in a marriage. That's what you guys don't understand.
Yes, they don't believe in freedom at all.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.